We fast forward, you turn 18. How long is it after 18 before you see jail?
I didn't make it to 18. I was 17 when I got locked up.
And they classified you as an adult?
Tried me as an adult.
How much time you get on that?
18 years.
And you went away at 17 years old
17 years old.
for 18 years. Who you
Yep.
charged? What you got to walk me through it. At 17 years old, what did you do that would make the Department of Corrections feel like they need to hold you for the next 18 years, man? That's excessive sentencing. That's a lot of time.
They was really trying to give me 42.
Walk me through it.
So basically, Pete Wilson, right? I call them Pete's kids. Pete Wilson, when Polyclass got and they came with the three strikes law.
On October 1st, 1993, Polly Klaas was abducted from her home during a sleepover slumber party. Her life was taken. After catching the man that did it and realizing he was a career criminal, California started what's known as the Three Strikes Act. 3 strikes, you're out. A lot of other laws were changed as well, and men that were sentenced in that timeline would find themselves doing excessive amounts of time due to this tragedy.
That allowed them to put enhancements on everything. Like they did so much out of using that girl's for political fame and to punish us, even though we were already being punished. So they lowered the age that you can get tried as an adult. So everybody that was my age that got locked up from like 1995 to 2000, they were still doing it a little bit later. But everybody in that era right there, where Pete Wilson was in office, was getting locked up. That's why you had 16-year-olds on the yard with grown men because of Pete Wilson. I caught robberies. So what they did is you go into one place and you rob one place, but there's 5 people in there.
5 robberies.
You go in there and you pocket check everybody in that. That's 5 robberies. So by the time I pull up, there you already know what that looked like. That's out of pocket. It's 12, 13. Plus a possession of a stolen car, plus possession of a stolen officer's gun, plus vandalism because I did donuts on the school property, plus possession of 5 stolen cellular phones. By the time they came, they got me. They was trying to beat my.
So you was doing the same shit. I was a stick-up kid. I robbed people. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not glorifying it. I'm not saying it's cool. It's part of my history. That's what I did. I robbed. Until you catch a whole bunch of robbery charges at 17, they classify you. They send you away. Where do you go to? How was the county? Let's get into that first. How old are you now?
Right now, I'm 43.
Yeah, you same age as me. They send you to the county?
County, yeah. I went
How
from
was
county.
county?
County was like I said, man. I was a learning experience for me, and the thing about it is, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes coming at 18 years old in the county. And the first mistake I made was one of my crip partners that came from the streets was in the wrong. He was in the wrong dorm, but I'm being buddy because he's my partner on the streets. Like, oh, I'm gonna change up on you now. They was doing automatic roll up. They catch you, they packing you out, sending you to the other side. These motherfuckers turned the book and tried to tell me, you got to get your homie. They wanted me to remove my homie, my partner from the streets, who I know, like personally, first and last name, was locked up in girls' school with him. And they want me to get him just because of the crib. I mean, it went against what I really felt inside, but I was outnumbered. And remember, I'm 18. I'm coming from juvenile hall. I ain't got no choice. So I go to the blinds and tell him, come to the blinds. He don't come to the blinds. He's like, nah, I ain't doing it. So when we go inside, he hit the
blinds.
Blinds is where you can catch that fade.
Okay, it's the blind spots.
And not get in trouble.
Gotcha.
So we go in the cell, he hit the button. So the next morning, I guess this dude was yelling out the door the whole night. Like, hey, that motherfucker right there, he didn't get that nigga. I ain't gonna disrespect Crips like that because I got a lot of Crip partners. But he didn't get he didn't get that Crip dude. He didn't get him. So therefore, he won. So he gotta go. So they plotted on rolling me up, right? So when I come out to pan my tray down, I go to their door like, what y'all talk about? It was like, you didn't get him, so you gotta go, and your name is Dirty Kurt. Your name should be Dirty Bert. I'm like, nah, my name is Dirty motherfucking Kurt. I'm on the menu now. I talked to my older homies. They try to talk for me. You know, I'm a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie. They try to talk for me, and this is and so when we go to the door, they like, nah, we not going for it. So I gotta take this fade. So the older homie give me a soap on the rope. Get that little good soap on the rope, put it in the sock, tie that motherfucker, put it in my waistband. I go to the door and ask him how long we gonna fight. And he did his hands like this and said, don't worry, it's gonna be short and sweet. I swallowed
Wow.
hard, I swallowed. But the door opened. I fought with my little as hard as my little heart would let me fight. I was cuffing him. Bing, bing, bing. But that was bigger than me, stronger than me. Had been to YA. So, you know how that went. Eventually he got me in some type of hole and my shoulder dislocated. Fight over with.
Been
Then
there.
on top of that, he come dope and feed me with a tray while my shoulder dislocated because he was mad because he was supposed to dust me off. But he didn't go this way, go that way. So you already know I had to go back to the cell though, and I tried to Mel Gibson that motherfucker, you know, the boom against. I tried, but
It,
nah,
it don't work.
man, I had to hit the button, man. You don't never want to hit the button in my county jail, but I had to hit that motherfucking button. They came and got me. Asked what happened. I said I fell off the bunk. It was like, oh yeah, oh one of those, one of those, huh? Yeah. So they ended up moving me to the next floor. Now I'm established though. Like I'll fight. They know I'll at least fight. Next thing you know, I register a knockout on the second floor. After that, I'm realizing, okay, so now it's about respect. So as long as you fight, motherfuckers will leave you alone, kinda. And so one
Hmm.
time, man, you know about that 2-for-1 thing. This is when I knew, like, I'm about to be a force to be reckoned with. And I hate to tell this stuff like I'm glorifying it, but I'm reliving it as I'm telling it. So, man, this motherfucker he told me he had my 2-for-1, right? When the store come, he tried to slide me one up under the door. That motherfucker tried to say he wasn't gonna pay me.
You
Shit.
had pay. Y'all don't know 2 for 1 is I give you one, you give me two back, or I give you two, you give me three back. It's all way of it's a hustle, man.
Yes.
Store instead of
Yes.
there being tax, like you pay a
Yes.
dollar 19 for a soda, instead of paying tax on store day, bring me two sodas.
And his was 2 for 3. So he got two of my items. All I know is my cellie explained to me because I blacked out. I went back to the cell, put 2 bars of soap in that sock, and was tying that motherfucker up. My cellie had his partner, and they was just talking it up. They see my little young ass come in there and do that, and get ready to walk back out the door. They grab me by my shirt. What you doing? I was like, man, this motherfucker ain't pay me. Man, listen here. The way they got at him, you know how that goes. That motherfucker came back, shoot, you know I was gonna pay you. I was just playing. But I'm not knowing. That's why I said I had to make mistakes to get to the mind frame where I was able to stand on my own and didn't need nobody. Cause being young coming through the system, like you need assistance. You need to know right from wrong. Cause there's some youngsters that came in and made mistakes and they never recovered from them.
All right, let's go to the sentencing. You get sentenced. How does that feel?
I know this. Getting locked up saved my life. Getting locked up saved me from getting life, and getting locked up saved my life. And they was trying to hit me with 42 years. So when I ended up with that, I was happy just to get that.
Hmm.
My mom passed out in the elevator. My grandma had to console her. Like it was a sad scene for real. Like in that courtroom, it was a sad scene because my mom seeing her baby she's seeing her baby just gone. I literally was on the highway to hell. Like there was no stopping me. I had a list of things that I was gonna do that I had lined up that I was gonna do, and then I had a list of things I was thinking about. It is a 99% chance that the things that I was gonna do, I was gonna do them. And I had a bank on that list. I had a lot of things on that list, and I had the guns to do it. We had broke into this pawn shop in the mountains. Stupidest thing ever. Bust the window, go in, and we take all the guns we could fit in these backpacks, including the Tommy gun. I didn't know it was a Tommy gun at the time. I was ignorant, even though the thing said Thompson's submachine guns, Thompson's World War II submachine gun. It was commemorative. So that plus the other guns, we get back to Sacramento. We ready for war. What the fuck is we taking guns for? We should have took the damn jewelry. That was
Right.
worth a whole lot more. But that just go. I just say that to say where my mind frame was at 17 years old.
So where do you go? Where do you go from county, man? And what year?
From the county, I hit what they got. They got something called the branch, which is RCCC out here. That's like the middle point between the county jail and Tracy, which is reception.
So you got to stop before you hit reception.
If you're gonna be there for a while, like you gotta fight a charge, they'll send you out to RCCC. And then from RCCC, you'll that's where the bus will come from the pen and take you to the pen.
And where'd you end up?
I ended up in Tracy, 10 years old in Tracy,
Straight
man.
off the bus to Tracy.
Straight off the bus. They put me on the third tier, right? They had it was a big dude. I don't forget his name, but I just know he bought me an ice cream. That was hella cool. But this motherfucker walking around in his boxers and shit, and I understand it's hot, and I'm in mine too, but I'm under the blanket, trying to stay cool
One
somehow.
pair. Hold on. Hold back up, man. One pair or two pair?
Nah, two pair, two.
Okay. 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 Because you never.
We don't do the singles.
Okay. Yeah. Single. You freaky. Freaky.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it still was a little awkward because we
Yeah.
weren't doing that where I came from. So
Oh,
anyhow,
this is
he
new.
tells me if I get on some medication, they'll move me to the first floor. It was so hot in Tracy. I'm talking about it's 100 and something inside the cells. It's too hot, too hot. Man, they took me. They put me on some Butterfinger BBs and put me on the first tier. Right.
The hell
So
is butter? Whoa, back up. You talking crazy? What is a Butterfinger BB?
that's my word for a pill for
Oh,
pills.
okay.
We
Okay.
call. Remember they call them Skittles.
Yeah. Okay.
Skittles, Butterfinger
Yeah, because
BB.
people gonna be like, "What is a Butterfinger BB?" I just first thing I thought was little balls of Butterfingers. I love
You don't
Butterfingers.
remember them? That's what I said. Little Butterfinger BBs.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know though. I instantly craved Butterfinger.
So
So
they
you
give me,
went crazy. You went J Cat on them when they put you on the first floor.
yeah, they put me on. So they giving me these little red pills, right? I ain't took them yet. I ain't took them yet because I just got the order to be moved from the top tier because they're called heat meds. Like if you take a heat med and it's hot, you could die. So they try to put you where it's cool. Otherwise, So that was the game, though. To do that, to get moved off that third tier. Other than that, you're gonna bake up there. So I'm on the first tier. And when they moved me in, like my celly, I don't see his hair. Like I only see his hair, and it kind of looked like a gorilla. And I see his forehead is hella black, right? But he ain't talking to me, so I'm moving my stuff on the thing. I'm feeling a little awkward in this motherfucker. So I get up on my bunk, man. I mind you, it's a little bit after dinner. My celly ain't said one word to me,
Mm,
one word. Then
mm.
finally, when I wake up, I see a roach crawl right on my pillow, like the roach was looking at me, eye level. I was like, "What the fuck?" I swatted it off, and I hear him laugh. That's the first time I heard him make a sound. I heard him laugh. He laughed at me, but he don't say nothing, right? So I get down and brush my teeth, right? I'm brushing my teeth. I spit in the sink.
Oh no, you didn't.
I spit in the sink.
No, you
I didn't
didn't.
know. I spit in the sink. All of a sudden, I'm telling you, this dude voice boomed off of every wall in that cell. You
Hmm.
spit that in the commode. Made me stand up straight. Oh, okay, I got it.
At least
I
he was cool
promise.
about it.
Huh?
That's being cool about it. Shit.
Yeah,
I'm telling
but
you,
I think he knew I was green though. I think he knew I didn't know. I didn't know. But
you had
shit,
to be green. You either green or real disrespectful to spit in the sink, man. There's only two things it can be.
yeah,
Fuck you and fuck this cell, or I don't know no better. That's the only two things it can be.
yeah. So he just and he knew it because I mean I didn't even have hair on my face. That's how young I was. No hair. So he knew obviously that I didn't know better. But after that, I promise you I knew from that day forward.
Spit goes in the toilet. You wash your face in that sink. That sink is used for a lot of different things. Like that's the one place nobody don't want your spit in their face. They wash that washcloth out in that sink. You know what I mean? Like there's rules to this shit. You know now.
Yeah,
There's
for
rules to
real.
this. Flush when you shit. You know what I mean? Like every state is run different. Some states you shower butt ball naked, and some states you would shower in your boxers. You know what I mean? Like every state is different. So So how was Tracy, man? When it comes to California's prison systems, how would you rate it?
I kind of got to skip ahead because the Tracy when I was a kid, like it wasn't the same when I went back. So
So
back
you had
then,
been there before.
no. I've been there twice, but I said I could skip ahead and kind of describe that Tracy. But the Tracy when I was a kid, like it was a blur. Like when I went through there, the only things I can remember really was that Sibo was there, the rapper. Um, X-Rated was there. They used to have concerts on the yard. Like I breezed through Tracy in a sense.
From there, you go to where?
From there, I push up to Salinas Valley level 4.
Uh,
The worst of California's criminal offenders get sent here.
Level
how was
4,
that?
270. And I didn't know.
Explain to them what you just said. Level 4, 270. For those that don't know,
So
what's a level 4, 270? What's that consist of?
so the highest of the high is level 4, 180. Then the next level under that is level 4, 270. And what that is the design of the yard. You got a 270 design and a 180. The 180 yard had like a fence in the middle of the buildings. Like there's 8 buildings on the yard. So you're gonna have D 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a wall that you can't see the other side. And then 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's D lower and D upper. So that's a 180 yard. A 270 yard does not have a fence in between the buildings. You got access to all 5 yards on this 5 buildings on this 270 yard.
So
There's
you
no,
can move more. You can make more happen. There's more
yeah,
movement.
it's a little more open. Now they got a fence now, but back then they didn't have it. They got a fence though, not a wall. When I push up to there, I think I had made a decision, like for real, in my young mind, like this is my home. I'm asking the people asking me how much time you got. I'm telling them how much time I got. They like, damn. Like, so if that's what I got to look forward to, then I'm shit. I'm a man up. This is my house, and I'm gonna learn everything that I can to survive. So when I push up, I was blessed I was blessed to have my mom's ex boyfriend on the yard. He could have been. He was just in the county with me.
That's crazy.
I could have went to any yard in CDC R, and they put me on that yard with D Hunt, my step pops. So he was able to teach me certain little things. I ain't even been there 3 weeks. The first time I seen somebody get stabbed, right? And he came and called it play by play. Like, remember, just think, I'm 18 years old, don't know what's going on. And a guy comes up and said he just hit him in the face. He hit that guy in the face over there, that Mexican, over by the bathroom. It's a pisser on the yard. He's squatting up under it, dabbing his face. So in my mind, I'm like, damn, he must have punched him hard, a motherfucker in his face. He leaking, right? Come to find out, he didn't punch him in the face because he told he hit him in the face. He really meant he stabbed him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, so he's saying, son, now watch this. You see them guys right there? Those are the soldiers. You see, they just went and dug their knives up. Now watch. And the dude that stabbed the shot caller, he had to go. He went and stood by the goalpost and squatted down, right? And he explained it to me in slow motion as they walking up to him. He put his back to the wall. All you saw was knives in the air. All you saw was knives in the air. That one person, I mean, he held his own, but they stabbed him the fuck up. And that was my first experience with seeing somebody get stabbed on this yard. I hadn't even been in prison 3 weeks. I would become desensitized to stabbings.
At what point did you? I hear a lot of people say like, and especially with Cali, you got to run with a car. Like you can run with a black car, you can run with a Spanish car, the white car, and then you got your gangs that run with your gangs. At what point did you decide to get down?
I ain't had no choice. That was coming in the door.
So you came in. I mean, did it give you the option like you could run blood, you could run crip, or
None of that. Nah, it was what you was on the streets is what you is now. I mean, there was little mistakes I had to make, like in Tracy. I remember a guy said, "Is you a Damu?" I said, "Nah, I'm a blood." Hold on, fine. The whole time Damu was blood Swahili. I just hadn't learned Swahili yet. Even though I should have knew Damu writers, but I didn't know. Outside Square I was. Even though I knew I was a blood. I didn't know I was a Damu till later. The choice, nah, you ain't had no choice. Like they know I was from Del Paso Heights, and my hood is Bloods.
You think that played in your favor?
There's advantages and there's disadvantages because my first charge was attempted murder. So I came to prison and went backwards. Like I went backwards into I went to that level 4 180, and I started at a 270 and went back. So I had to make some mistakes until I even felt I had a choice to do or to not do.
Walk me through it. Was this something that you had? I mean, if you could talk about it, was this something that a personal beef you had? Because I can already see where this is going. Or was this something somebody told you go handle?
Attempted murder was it was the older homie, and there's just certain stuff that you don't do, and you don't threaten the shot callers and say your homeboy don't give me my money by lunchtime. I'm gonna set it off, and don't tell no blacks. Like that's just not something that you do, because they will come out. The Southsiders are very sneaky,
So
and
he went. So he went to another race and said this.
he went to the shot caller and told the shot
So he
caller
went
that,
to the head of another race
and said if
and
your
made a
homeboy
threat.
don't pay me my money, then I'm finna set this off. And
And
he
he
took
did
it
this
upon.
without y'all's acknowledgement, without y'all's
He did it without
approval,
us knowing
any
nothing.
warning. So pretty much about sparked a war
Yes,
without y'all knowing.
yes. And so by this time on this yard, I'm sergeant at arms, so I got a little rank already because I've been putting in work. I had already had like 4 incidents, so I got a little bit of rank now. So the thing is, we're gonna give you the opportunity to work out. You're gonna do some burpees, and that's gonna be it. This motherfucker did 4 burpees and said, I ain't doing that shit, and walked in the building. Now the thing is, I live in the building with him, and I know he got a knife because I made it for him. So,
Mm.
and when I get in the building, it ain't there. And he called me to the door. He said, "Man, I heard y'all was about to get me," because that's true. When he walked in the building, I looked at the homies and said, "You know what come next?" So we already know. As soon as he come outside, we about to get him. So but I live in the building with him. So when I go in there and see the knife gone, and he calling me to the door saying, "Dirk, what's up, man? I heard y'all trying to get me." Only thing I could think is that my cellie said something to him. So I go back in the cell. I'm quiet and shit. I'm really contemplating doing something to my cellie. And then finally I bust out. Did you tell him? He was like, nah, he didn't. Somebody else told him. So when we come out, my cellie and his crime me, they both got 25. I mean, life without, both of them. They on the same yard together. Crime me's on the streets. So they agreeing that they're gonna get this homie. Man, he must have came out the building. They tried to circle him, and he came up out of it, and whipped out the knife that I made for him. So they about to get they basically already can't get him because now he got the drop on him. So while this is going on, now picture this is where this shit get crazy. I know it's long drawn, but this is where it get crazy. There's a concert going on the yard, an inmate concert with bands and shit. So you can imagine there's a crowd on the yard. So this guy he runs through the crowd. We are chasing him across the yard during this concert. He tries to run to the Muslims and say, "Hey man, help man! These brothers trying to get me." The Muslim dude looked at him, looked up and said, "Hey, Nation of Islam, follow me," and left him by himself. So we trying to corner him again and try to get him. So then he run to the homeboy. The homeboy is politically tied. He's from SAC, but he ain't. But he's a BGF, so he can't do nothing. So he running the homie like, "Help, man! They trying to get me." The homie look him up and down and say, "I don't know what you did, but you better get the fuck away from me." So now he's stuck. Now he out there. So finally another homie hit him. Bam. Man, he must. I think the homie was throwing cotton candy because he ate all of that and still was moving. So the last two homies that has tried to get in front of the beginning, they kind of closed. They cornered. Picture this: I'm in the woods shop. I'm in the shop because I'm one of the artists that's about to rap. I'm about to rap. Probably the next act after this. But now they didn't made it all the way to the stage. So if there's a camera recording this shit, the camera shows the dude that we trying to get or that they trying to get. The homies picked up a trash can and threw it at the homie, and then he kicked it back at him. So when he did that, that was when it was over. I came running out the wood shop, hit him. Bam, he coughed up, knife and everything. We stomp him out all on camera, right? I get away. I dive to the side. They lay the yard down. They come and they asked the lieutenant asked the dude that's working the camera, did he get it? At first he said no, because I had moved away from the stage. I almost got away. So, but then all of a sudden he looked and he said, "Up, wait a minute, I got something." And they went, it's like him over there, cuff him up, man. And so that was that. That when I get to the building, they didn't take me right away. They put me in the shower so I can get all this pepper spray up out my shit. So they end up. I thought we just, got a battery on the inmate, man. And when that program plan of ops form came out that night, it said there was an attempted murder on the yard. So that was my first charge where I went to the hole for attempted murder for that.
For
And
your
he was the
street.
one that actually had the knife.
In 18 years, man, I'm sure you went to a lot of different prisons.
Hell yeah.
Which one was the worst?
When I left Salinas Valley, I went to Solano. And Solano was a level 3. But Solano was more active than the level 4 I just came from. The first morning, my cellie got jumped. The first morning in Solano. And when I pulled up there, we was at war with the Northerners, and it would only be like 2-3 weeks later when we got into a riot with the Southsiders. And in Solano, we was into it with the North and the South at the same time. So shit,
Now, when you say we, you saying like y'all
blacks,
moves like Bloods or
nope,
or the Black
everybody,
Bar.
nah,
So it don't
everybody,
matter. It don't matter what your gang tie is. If you're black, you're riding with us against them.
yeah,
So all the gangs, regardless of what your gang affiliation is, your color is going to trump all that.
yes, when it's racial,
So when it's racial, the gang shit goes out the window. It's
yeah,
blacks.
yeah,
We
blood
over
in them,
here.
cousin them, blood in them, cousin them, and non-affiliate in them better get active.
You said you had been to Folsom.
Old folks,
Old Folsom. How was Old Folsom, man? Every time, you know what I think of when I think of Folsom. I think of Johnny Cash, man. You know what I mean?
walk the line.
Yeah, I think of Johnny Cash anytime I think of Folsom. Man. How was Folsom?
I ain't gonna lie, man. I had fun in Folsom. I was there twice. But they say ain't no fun in prison. I understand that. But is there such thing as like having it your way? I had it my way there, but I can say it didn't come without a cost. You had to make mistakes there too. That was where I first got introduced to like having a phone regularly in the cell. That was the first place where I really learned how to hustle because really Old Folsom was like a big city. We had buildings in Old Folsom. Building 1 is 5 tiers high, 4 sections, 5 tiers high, like 20, 30 cells back.
So what year did you end up? You do your time, man. I mean, we could go on forever and things that happened inside prison. That would be a 30-part mini docu series to try to
Man,
figure
for
out
real.
everything that happened in prison. What year did you end up coming home? You went in at 1997 you went in. When would you walk out again?
4th of July,
20
2013.
4th of July,
4th of
2013.
July.
How does that feel? Did you come out? Do you think you came out a better person?
Uh, I came out a new person. I can't
Like,
say, I can't say better. I can say wiser, and I knew right from wrong. So I guess in that aspect, you could say better. I guess, but there was still some mistakes. Just like I had to make mistakes young going inside, I had to make mistakes coming home, still being kind of young, 33, but still, I went at that age, so I'm still young in the mind. So I had to grow up still.
what do you get into when you get out, man? Now you now that all these years have passed, you're a free man. Do you come home and do you go to work? Do you try to make a normal life? Try to settle down? What do you do when you get out?
So I was married at the time.
You got married in prison?
Yeah, I did. I did.
You had to. That was a stupid ass question.
Yeah, I did. I could say that when I first came home, I was living on my mama's floor or sleeping on my mama's floor for at least a good like 6, 7 months until finally like something clicked in, was like get up off of your ass. And so what happened is the opportunity came for a job, and I was doing signatures, and that's where like a signature gatherer, petitioner, the people that stand outside of Walmart and ask for your info, and you get paid $2, $3 a signature. And so that was what I was looking for, something that could pay me right then and there, so I can get a lump sum and move out. and I seized the opportunity and moved out. I would say I was home for about 3 years, and that's when I made a mistake and went back to the pen.
Stay tuned for Chapter 3, the finale.